Good morning, everybody. Today's speaker is Robert Sinton. Robert Sinton is a SCORE workshop presenter and the co-founder and president of Sandler Training at the Training Center for Sales and Business Development, headquartered in Philadelphia, PA. For past 22 years, he has helped small, mid-sized, and Fortune 1000 companies overcome their frustrations and disappointments by addressing, training, and implementing more effective and non-traditional sales management, leadership, and executive coaching techniques, strategies, and initiatives. Prior to his business consulting career, Bob had over 15 years of experience in production, operations, sales, and management in service and construction industries. He brings his real-world, entrenches attitudes and behaviors which enable his clients to realize the success they desire and deserve. So today, Bob is going to give a speech webinar about how to do the sales. And he's doing on behalf of SCORE. SCORE was formed in 1964. We have about 100 volunteers who help small business owners by mentoring and providing educational programs at no cost. SCORE's mission is to educate small business owners by mentoring. SCORE's vision is to support and thrive small business owners to become confident by educating them. Today, I'll be your moderator and I'll be helping Robert Sinton. You can call him as Bob. You can put your questions in the Q&A box, and I'll be helping Bob to answer those questions. And if you have any questions, you can put that in chat too. And after the session is over, the recording will be provided to you through email. Thank you. Bob, now you can take over the control.
Sushil, thank you very much. And if my buddy Vic's still on, it's my pleasure being with you guys. And when Vic did those personal introductions over the years, like you just shared, Sushila, all that really means is I'm old, okay? What that long list of things you said I did or failed at in my career. Specifically, guys, so good morning to everybody. Officially, I guess, I hope I said hi to everybody. Adam, Matt, Ken, Vic, Larry, Shelley, Diana with 2 N's, Joan, Sherlock, Andy, Matt, and Jennifer. I'm going to wait a few minutes to see who's the first person to put something in the chat or Q&A for that matter, and I'm going to help you out. So this what are we left with here? 54 minutes. We'll go by real quick, or we can end earlier, depending on how many questions and answers you guys have. But I need at least 1 or 2 people to answer this question, short and sweet, in the chat or Q&A. You pick. Me and Sushila have access to both. And the question is, as I forward the slide, guys, when we talk about, I think you went through all these. Good job, Sushila. So when we have a problem in business, your retail, your B2B, your B2C, your industrial, commercial, industrial, residential, high ticket items, high tech, low tech. I don't care what industry you're in. I'd like to hear you answer this question that's up on your screen right now. So Sheila, you see that up there, yes?
Yes.
The problem statement. Okay. So guys, that's just a short way. Thanks for putting my email in the chat, Sushila. A short way of saying whether you've been in business 1 day, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, any industry. Today's a sales seminar. I've been helping individuals like you all, small companies, mid-sized companies, Fortune 1000 companies, with the 6 trainers that work for me, help people address those trials and tribulations that Sushila had mentioned earlier. We can't help people if you first don't share an issue, a concern you have. I don't see anything in the chat yet, whether it's from Jennifer, Matt, Andy, Joan, Diana, Shelley, Larry, Matt, Ken, or Adam. Adams, if he's still there. I'm sorry, or if you're talking, Sushila, you're muted. And Were you saying something there, Sushila? I just saw your
Shelley
picture.
says, overcome objections.
Okay, my bad. I now see them popping in there. I can take it from there. Sushila, thank you. And now I see the questions coming in. You guys are good. Shelley says that the chat is disabled, so don't worry. Let's just put it in the Q&A. Hey, Shelley, since you said the chat was disabled, were you able to see my email that Sushila put in the chat? Were you able to see that, Shelley? I guess you're going to have to answer it in the Q&A. No worries. I'll let you handle that.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Sorry, my bad. Hey, I can hear you, Shelley. Thank you. Sushila put my email in the chat. When you said the chat was disabled, were you able to see the email? Okay. So, Sushila, can you do it one more time? The email,
Sure,
if that's,
sure.
put it in the Q&A this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Shelley, for that. You have to travel with me, Shelley. Okay. Shelley, and think she was the first one to put in the Q&A. I'm going to read these guys, and that's going to allow me over the next 35, 40 minutes to determine which way are we going to go with addressing Shelley's specific issue of overcoming objections. I'm going to come back to you, Shelley, if that's okay with you, and have a question. Okay,
That's
great.
okay.
Vic had typed in there, keeping clients engaged. I love it, Vic. I may ask you a question in a bit. Diana, develop a system to nurture leads, entry point sales. And Diane, I might ask you a question about that in a minute. Larry says, if I had a more organized contact, I'd be able to reach out to my prospective customers more efficiently. And I love it. I'm not a CRM expert, Larry. I don't care if you're keeping your CRM in toilet paper in an old-fashioned metal box like I did back in the late 80s before I started messing around with computers. CRMs are not the end-all be-all, but yeah, you should have an organized contact list, Larry. I don't know how much more we can get into that today. Pricing my services in the appropriate way. Jennifer, thank you for sharing that. And quickly, it's simply, obviously, you want a 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% gross margin. You want a 10, 20, 30, 40% net profit, regardless of your industry. You definitely should come up with a number that you know, Jennifer, that I'm going to come back to you in a bit. Like if you value your products and services you guys sell or who you represent in this world, it's critical that you're very specific with, hey, I know I'm worth that amount. Now, what I'm going to share today, Jennifer, since you mentioned pricing, and Shelley, I think, had mentioned, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Overcoming objections.
Yeah, there are two different lists here. I see them now. Overcoming objections. Thank you, Shelley. Like I said, you're going to travel with me, Shelley. I'm going to address that. So great job with the list. And as I come back to you, Shelley, guys, I'm going to ask Shelley a question. We don't have time to do it with everybody. If you're okay, Shelley, could you mind sharing, unless it's confidential, Shelley, what you do, what's your industry, and give me an example of an objection people give you. Tell us about your business and what's an example of an objection you run into, Shelley, if you don't mind.
Okay, so I'm a career coach. I meet with most of my clients virtually, so helping them with all career-related issues. And the biggest objection I tend to run into is it's too much money.
Yes, yeah, and I think we can all relate to that a little bit. And by the way, since Shelley, thank you for sharing that. You write that down. Too much money, high priced. Can you lower your price? Can I get a discount? That price is too high. So we all run into that, and it's going to tie in a little bit with Jennifer's question before I start forwarding these slides, guys, regarding, I don't care what industry you're in, with the small group of people we have here, with the 6 trainers that work for me, we're in front of sometimes one person at a time, coaching them on pricing and helping them with pricing, Jennifer, as well as dealing with objections, Shelley, in the example you gave us. But it's going to start with And if you get nothing out of today, before I even finish these slides, here it comes. It's going to start with what's going on in your head, Shelley, and Jennifer, and everybody else on the call. What do you feel down and dirty are you worth? Yeah, everybody sells pens like this, but here's why I'm going to charge a premium. Everybody has these tangible or intangible products and services they bring to the marketplace, whether it's retail or B2B or what have you. You truly have to have a mindset of, I know owning a business, making a difference in the world, you should be saying, I'm bringing value to the marketplace. But here comes your first tip. After you get past that, and Shelley, maybe you don't need that when I'm combining Jennifer's issue with yours. I'm not checking the any new chats or Q&A, Sushila. If you see anything new in there as I chat
Sure.
about Shelley's and Jennifer's, feel free to jump in. And Larry, thanks for your comment. I have to get into it, but I did mention the CRM. But we can talk about being more organized here too with the sales process. I'm going to be discussing the sales process, not limited to Shelley's and Jennifer's comments, but to anybody out there, I feel, in the world. This is a belief of Sandler philosophy worldwide, is if you don't have a sales process, you're going to be winging it. You're going to be more akin to letting clients dictate to you what they want to buy and for what pricing. But let's go back to that rule one before I forward these slides, is you got to have a belief, Jennifer and Shelley, maybe you don't need it, even though people are giving you price objections. I'll address it more poignantly in a minute, but a belief that you're, and I'm trying to, I don't mean to say a bad word, but when I say you must believe it to the nth degree about what you're bringing to the market, not what the market is willing to bear, but what you know you're worth, your value. I sell these these widgets, whatever these widgets are I'm pointing at. I know that's going to make a difference in people's worlds, but you got to believe that first. Now, what you're going to hear, Shelley, especially with your price objection, and what you're going to hear, Jennifer, and the rest of you, is how to deliver that to a client in such a way. Here it comes, Jennifer and Shelley and the rest of you, is deliver it in such a way where you do not convince people that they should buy your products or services. That's how amateur salespeople sell. What we're willing to do, what I've been sharing with clients for 27 years, and actually 31 years ago, because I was a student of Sandler training, running a mechanical contracting company down in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, if anybody knows that area. I live in Westchester now. Regarding, I was going broke, and then I took Sandler training, and I went, wow, this is like a different way to have a consultative conversation with someone, not just show them quotes and estimates. What do you need, Mr. Smith? They tell you what they need, and then you come up with a quote, and then you have an increased chance, Jennifer, Shelley, Diana, Larry, and everybody, of people giving you price objections. So as I go through this, think about any issues you may or may not have regarding this pricing or dealing with objections. I'm going to go back to the slides. So even if you didn't share this morning in the Q&A, if you want to get anything else out of today's seminar, jot it down. So before I flip the slide here, answer that question. Your business could sell a heck of a lot more if only what? You saw what Jennifer wrote, Larry, a few other people, Shelley, regarding dealing with price objections or how to price my stuff. So the next slide we're going to talk about is like, this makes it real. What, you know, when we mentioned earlier about the problem up here on the slide, then we get to what's the impact for you. I don't want to get political with you or talk about capitalism, guys, but we are in a marketplace economy. So if you have issues out there of people giving you objections, or your price is too high, or you don't have enough in your pipeline, or we teach clients how to get more and better and better and more qualified referrals. Well, what's the impact of that problem you have? So you don't have to share it unless somebody feels motivated enough. I just pulled the Q&A back up, Sushila. And if anybody feels energy brokers or opportunities could reduce. So we have a lot of solar people, Matt Baker, going through our a lot of solar people going through our training right now. And guys, if everybody's reading each other's Q&A, I don't know if you can or not. You can let me know, Sushila, or anybody on the call. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So you can relate it to your world. It looks like Matt Baker's in the solar world, but relate it to your world as I go through this. So let's go back to what everybody put up there. What's the impact, the dollar cost in revenue to your company or income to you? Now, guys, don't take it personally, meaning, Larry, great job. No negative impact yet. You're in a unique situation there, Larry. Guys, it's just a guess. We're not asking you to share this number if you don't want to, unless someone feels brave enough to put it in the Q&A. But it makes it real if you write it down on a piece of paper. The price of objections that Shelley talked about, or I don't have enough referrals, or people are dragging out my sales process. I made good money on the 10 sales I made last month, but I just wish it didn't take that long. So that we would call that one your sales cycle. So just guess at the number, whether it's in revenue or income or both if you want. Just makes it real for you to say, yeah, Bob, if I could get that problem fixed, I could add $500,000 or $50,000 to my revenue, whether you're tracking it per month, per quarter, or per year. So that's the impact. So what do we have next? So get your pens ready, guys, and feel free as I go through this. We have plenty of time left and no additional questions. I'm looking periodically. Good job in that regard. So, but feel free to ask more questions as I go through this slide. So this isn't just for Jennifer's pricing issue or Shelley's price objection. It's for everybody, what I shared earlier. If you got a problem out there, what I chose to pick with SCOR's approval to help you guys, me as a volunteer, is what's our problem over in the left side of the page, and here comes the solution. Now, you're going to get these slides, but if you want to take notes, because I may throw some ad libs in here as we go through it, and depending on what you get out of it or what your questions are, feel free to write them down. So on the left side of this page, we call it the problem. And the problem, if you're going to take notes, is what's a client doing to you to get to those price objections, Shelley, for example? What are they doing as they talk to you, Adam, or Larry, or Matt, or Andy, or Diane? I know I'm missing some people here. Sorry, Jennifer. What do you mean, what are they doing to you? So it's real simple. We call this on the left side of the page their buying process when they talk to you. So there it is right there. The prospects, clients you deal with, Jennifer, the suspects you deal with, Diana or Andy, they have a buying system. Now I'm gonna summarize it. So if Matt, Adam, or Larry, or anybody has a question as I summarize it, jump in. And I guess I should just leave the Q&A up, Sushila, because it looks like people are still adding stuff in. Thank you, Matt, with some more. Okay, Matt, guys, whether I'm going to say ask a general, a logistical question. I'm reading Matt's Q&A in here right now. The last one you just put in, Matt, a minute ago. Thank you for that. Now, you used a word in there, Matt, but I want to ask the rest of the group, or just Shelley, since you and I have been interacting. Can you read all the Q&As in there, Shelley, or just your own, or none?
Yes, I can see them all.
Okay, great. So, guys, I don't have to repeat it then. Matt Baker said something there. Matt, I don't know you, and maybe you're the #1 solar salesperson in the whole world, and you're doing great. I'm just going to simply say this. You see the C word he put in his last Q&A, guys? I'm selling, it's like I'm selling a commodity with the saving. Now, someone may disagree with me on this before I go finish the slides with the problem and the solution, using a sales process that we deliver in 300 industries, 29 countries, and 13 languages as I speak. I'm one of the original 15 franchises in the world doing it. Doesn't make me good, guys, necessarily, just makes me old. But here's Matt's word. He used the word commodity in there. We have data and proof to show that anytime a company, yours, Matt, and I'm sorry if this touches on any nerves with anybody, if we can't stop clients from using the word commodity, come on, Bob, you're selling oil or gas, or you're selling cars. That's a commodity. I can get it cheaper someplace else. I can't stop them from saying that. However, we can stop ourselves from thinking it's a commodity. Commodity has a negative term to it in society. Our data shows that if you even think it for a second, then clients are going to use that as leverage to you when they're thinking about buying from you or somebody else. So the lesson learned, I do a 2-hour keynote talk, guys, just on getting rid of the word commodity out of your vernacular, out of your narrative, out of your thinking process. If you want to comment on that, Matt, feel free. Otherwise, thank you for sharing that, Matt. It's easier to sell your products and services at the pricing you're looking for, Jennifer, for example, or Matt, Andy, Diana, when you don't have that thought process in your head, commodity. So let's go back to the chart here that says the problem. So we have prospects up here, client, suspects, buying system. We've capsulized it in 4 steps. In any industry, what clients do in a retail interaction, industrial interaction, B2B, long cycle sales, or 6 transactions in a day, for example, we've capsulized it. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me. And I think they're still coming in, some of the questions. If you think I'm missing any, Sushila, jump in. Organized, open. Okay. So here comes the first step. And that when clients, their buying system, as they talk to you, Matt Baker or Diane or Andy, we feel at some level there's a myth out there. Well, what's a myth? A myth number 1 is maybe they don't tell you the whole truth. When people say, yeah, I need a price and availability from you, Matt or Larry or Jennifer, I want to know how much it's going to cost me. I want to know, I've been buying from somebody else and I'm not happy with them. The reason we call it a myth, guys, correct me if you think you disagree. We got over 50 million people worldwide agreeing with this philosophy, that it may not be the entire truth. I'm going to avoid the word lie, but I got my hand up, guys, since the clock's ticking here. Who besides me on this call, and if you want to just blurt it out with a yes verbally or otherwise, who besides me have ever had someone not tell them the entire truth when you were talking to them about them buying your products or services out there? That's their buying system, and we can give 1,000 of examples of that. What are we getting to? If that's a problem, if that's going to help us increase the chance, that's going to hurt you to increase the chances of getting a price objection, or saying clients to you, I want to think about it, wasting your time. Well, we got to have a process to deal with it, which is why we're going, in a minute or two, we're going to jump over here to the solution. So it's going to, a solution of a sales process will deal with getting a better and more and better qualified referrals in your pipeline, shortening your sales cycle, not having to deal with unpaid consulting, pricing issues that Jennifer mentioned, and I'm sorry, that and the price objections that Shelley mentioned, and being able to price your products and services, Jennifer, more effectively. So we're not at the solution yet, guys. I'm just letting you know we're going to go through the client's traditional stereotypical buying system. And if you don't understand the myth, I'll explain it a little bit more if you need me to, but quickly, it's just not telling you the whole picture. They're holding things close to their chest. They don't want to tell you everything. I mean, let's cut to the chase here, guys and ladies. You are a salesperson. So when people are buying from a salesperson or a company representative, they got their guard up. That's what we mean by myth. All right, let's go to step 2, as you guys are taking notes here. Step 2 is and Jennifer, I don't know what you do. If you want to chime in a minute, you can. But if I'm talking to Matt Baker about solar, or Larry DeMarco about widgets, or Ken Lin, Ken Lin, great job. I see now you wrote in there identifying the decision maker. And it just went away. I just saw it in there a second ago. So we feel like when someone's talking to you, this is real critical, guys, here. They know, Ken Lin or Larry or Matt, that you have expertise, you have knowledge. That's why I put this in there. And they're going to ask you, Jennifer or Larry, how much is this going to cost? So that's their step 2. And guys, we've all been there. This is not news to you guys. When you go out and buy things, you've maybe not you guys, but I may not have told a salesperson in my 60 years of existence or 40 in the business world, I didn't tell them the whole truth. That's what step 1 is. Now, what did I want from that salesperson in step 2? Tell me all about what you know about your products, your services, how you think it may help me. And I also, by the way, Mr. Salesperson, I want to know how much it's going to cost. So I think we can all attest to that. Yes? What's step 3 in this system? Or before we get to step 3, let's talk about what step 2 is exactly. And if you guys like this, I date myself with this term called a dog and pony show. Bottom line of a dog and pony show, which is probably an outdated term from, I think it came from the circus in the old days. It just wastes time. The clock's ticking of your life, guys. And, I'm the old fart in the room right now, but I don't care if you're 25 years old, which we have people coming through our training, or you're an old fart like me. Why waste time in anything in life? You may be wasting time, maybe I say, sharing your expertise, knowledge, and giving pricing to clients who's someone that's not qualified. So that's what we mean in part. That's part of the unpaid consulting, which was the title of the program here today, as well as how to have your best sales year ever. So a dog and pony show just means we're wasting time. Step 3 in the client's suspect's buying system is it's similar to number 1. There's another myth here. And the myth here we call it is, well, I really like what you showed me, Matt. I don't know if I'm saying it right, Matt Conchal. I really like the products and services you showed me. You spent some time with me and my business partner, or me and my wife if you're selling B2C, Matt. And I tell you what, though, we're going to think about it. I'm getting prices from other people. Your prices are a little high. What can you do with them? Listen, our tax return check didn't come in yet. I'm going through some personal issues right now. We're going to have to wait on this. Anything I just said to Matt or Matt Baker, Matt Conchal, or Larry, or Diana, what we're saying is it may not have been the entire truth. In other words, it's another myth. So how do you deal with steps 1, 2, or 3? Not just Shelley's issue around price objections, or Jennifer saying, where should my pricing be? Or Ken Lin, I'm going to get to yours in a minute too, is how to easily identify a decision maker. And Ken, before I forget, we got plenty of time here. I'm going to give you an ad hoc tip here, guys, because of what Ken Lin wrote in the Q&A. Similar to what I did with Matt with the word commodity. You wrote decision maker in there, Ken. Before I share it with you, at the end of the session, remind me to, well, actually, I'll get to it in the solution. What's a way better approach than saying decision maker for the rest of your life? But before we do that, let's finish up the problem. So we got people not telling you the whole story. You gave unpaid consulting. They told you another myth, or a blow off, a stall, an objection in number 3. Lots of versions of myth number 2. And then we get to what we call chasing somebody. So DA, if you're writing this down, guys, saying they don't answer the phone, they don't return your messages, you get voicemail, and the chase is on. What's happening when you're chasing people? When you're doing dog and pony shows, when you're wasting time, you're not getting the decision maker, Ken. You're getting price objections, Shelley, as you mentioned. And even if you had your pricing set up properly, Jennifer, you may start running into some of these. So what we've given a name to all this is unpaid consulting. So what's unpaid consulting? Simply wasting time. I gave away my expertise, my knowledge. I didn't get paid for it. Now I got to go off to other people to find other prospects, but the clock's ticking on my life. Now, some of you may say, Bob, you know what? I make a ton of money. I'm doing really, really well. And I'm running into all 4 of these things. All I say is God bless you. So then it's not a problem for you. If not every single business owner I've run into in the last 27 years, I'd say 95% of them say some version of these 4, or all 4, 3 or 2 is a problem for them. That's why they engage in training with us. So we call it unpaid consulting. So if you notice what we did, folks, for the last 10 minutes is share the problem out there. So to some degree, Matt Baker may or may not be having these issues. Jennifer may or may not be. Shelley, we already shared yours, is having it at some level with price objections. So what's the solution to that, which is going to be a part of what I'm going to show you before we finish here today. And I don't think there's anything else up there. Is there, Sushila? and must chase an opportunity. Matt Baker, thank you for sharing that. So guys, a lot of good information in there on chasing people. Months, the clock's ticking. You know, the older I get, I always share this with my clients, and I hope it doesn't hit on nerves. You know, my 92-year-old mother's still alive. My 100, he turned 100 2 days ago. My father-in-law lives with us. I'm 60. I got 3 teenagers at home. But you know what? When people say time wasters, you snap your fingers and 20 years goes by in your life, or well, whatever your goals are and dreams. We're all going to get the 6 feet of dirt thrown on us. And Matt, thank you for sharing that with you about chasing people for months. So I'm going to show you in this process, there is no chasing. There's no unpaid consulting. There's no chasing. There's no dog and pony shows without knowing what's going to happen next. And I'm going to show it to you in a capsulized version in less than 20 minutes. Our clients have been with us for 18 years, guys, or 7 years, or 2 years. We do not believe, and you can snap your fingers, even though I volunteered my time here today, even if I never meet you again. The real message here today is go out and get a solution, a sales process to deal with everything Matt Baker said, Shelley said, Jennifer said, and the rest of you that haven't shared yet this morning. That's okay. But we truly believe, regardless of the industry you're in, have a sales process that's replicatable, that you have 2 employees in a retail environment, you engage clients in a similar way through a conversational, consultative approach. It's not reading a script, guys. Anytime I hear of, sometimes people say, Bob, a replicatable sales process, are you going to turn our salespeople or our retail agents into robots? It could not be more polar opposite than that. A consultative conversational approach is absolutely replicatable as long as you have the most effective one out there. You could probably guess which one I think is the best. Larry, and guys, you know, the reason I appreciate Shelley, Jennifer, Matt, Larry sharing their trials and tribulations just makes it real for you. I don't know what you said thank you to, Jennifer, but we'll get to that in a minute. Maybe you were thanking somebody else there. No worries. Sales funnel. All right, here it comes. Solution. We believe any industry you're in, you darn well better have a successful selling system or a process, like I said. And the first step out of these 7, as we finish up the last 20, 25, I'm going to get done a little early. So if you guys have any Q&A, or before Sushila does her ending announcement, we'll leave some extra time. We believe bonding and rapport is not you being a good person or having a good personality to be able to be a people person or a gift of the gab, or that person just likes to be in front of groups. That's a myth, guys, no pun intended. We believe you could be the most introverted person, the most non-people person, and be massively successful at sales because you have simply people skills. So write it down here next to bonding and rapport. To create a true bond and a rapport with a prospect, a client, current customer, you have to have people skills on steroids. Now, what that means is from identifying your client's behavioral style and then being able to match and mirror that. So we have 2-hour clinics on bonding and rapport. Here's the 2 most important words in that 2-hour clinic on creating a bond and a rapport with clients. It's called match and mirror. Mirror clients, match them. And I'll give you a fact here, guys, is people want to do business with people who they feel are like them. I said that slow because sometimes, maybe not you folks, but some other clients here, oh, Bob, what I heard you say was people want to do business with people who they like. That's another myth. That's what they say just to keep the conversation going to their friends. Why did you buy from ABC Insurance Company? Oh, well, they're good guys over there. I like them. Come on, let's go play golf. But what really happened at some level, if a true relationship commenced, was they said that person at ABC Company is like me, and I like doing business with people like myself. So that proves, I just gave you in 30 seconds, a 2-hour clinic on bonding and rapport. We believe in a successful selling. And if you want to write this word down, guys, it's called a communication system, not just selling system. Communication is selling, selling is communication, at least in today's world. I can't speak for 30 years from now when I'm long gone. It could be all artificial intelligence for all I know. But in the meantime, I have 1,400 clients and 105,000 people we train at the Sandler office, out of my Philadelphia office, Chester County, Montgomery County. And we believe, at least in today's day and time, the 8 years left I have on my business plan, people want to have belly button to belly button contact with you. That means over Zoom, over Teams, a video, over the phone, face to face, live. You can't do that with AI. I don't care how good AI is. The next step in a successful selling system, folks, is what we call an upfront contract. Now, if you're taking notes, an upfront contract is not written. So if it's not written, what is it? Excuse me. It's a verbal agreement between you, Ken Lynn, Diana, Andy, Jennifer, and the person you're talking to over the phone or face to face. An agreement of what's going to happen over the next 2 minutes or 2 hours or 15 minutes or 45 minutes. Now, guys, some people say, Bob, you've been doing Sandler for so long. Pick one thing that you feel that has helped you be massively successful or helped your clients be successful. I'd say, well, I can't, because it's pretty much a ton of information inside Sandler. But if they put the gun to my head, I would pick this one right here, upfront contract. Don't start a meeting unless you both parties agree on the start time, 3:05 p.m. We agreed to set aside 30 minutes, right, Mary? Mary has to say yes before you continue. What would you like to talk about, Mary? If you guys are writing this down, number 3, what would you like to talk about? Amateur salespeople miss that small little tiny thing. First thing you should be saying in an upfront contract is, what would you like to talk about, Mary and Ed? And then number 4 is what you want to talk about. And here comes the coup de grace for an upfront contract, is the 5th and final step, if you guys wrote these down. And an upfront contract is, regardless of what happens now, guys, this isn't just for Matt, Baker, Larry, and a few others, or me included. The difference in Bob Sitton's career 31 years ago, when I was chasing people all over the moon in my late 20s, taking my air conditioning company, Matt, down the tubes, even though we did great work, but I was wasting time. The difference between then and now is I haven't totally eliminated chasing people, but instead of 5 or 6 people a week, I started chasing, following up with fax. You guys don't remember faxes or phone calls or emails today. It's maybe 1 every 6 to 9 months now. And some of my clients are even better at it than me, because it starts with how you open up the sales call or the interaction with a customer. The 5th and final step is this upfront contract, is what I'm alluding to. At the end of today's meeting, Ed and Mary, if it doesn't make any sense for us to continue talking about the $1 million insurance plan or the $100 suit you're thinking about buying from us, why don't we just say thanks, but no thanks? Guys, what I just said in role play is going to make you a ton of money and be way more successful, because they've never heard it from salespeople on a regular basis. Amateur salespeople are constantly saying, you're going to love this jacket, you should buy this insurance, I got the best products and services. And when the client says, I'm going to think about it, what does the amateur have to do? Chase them. So we're saying at the end of this upfront contract, that 5th and final step, if you guys caught all 5 steps, if anybody asks a question, Sushil, about what the 5 steps are for an upfront contract, I can repeat them. But the most important one is the 5th one, is at the end of the meeting, if it doesn't make any sense to move forward, Mary, won't hurt my feelings. However, if it does make sense to continue talking about how ABC company can help you, can we agree on what that looks like? Guys, I just gave you in 2 or 3 minutes the most powerful way to start a career, the most powerful way to start a sales interaction. It's not how good of a closer you are to close those price objections, Shelley, that you mentioned earlier. It's how good are you to open up the conversation. So that's why we call it open up, upfront contract, upfront verbal agreement before anything happens on a sales call. We spend a lot of time customizing this for each and every one of our clients' industries. All right, let's keep moving before the clock runs out. The heart and soul of Sandler Training. I'm going to give you some examples of this if we have time. It's called People Buy From You, Matt Baker, Larry, Shelley, Jennifer, Matt Conchel.
Bob, one
And-
minute, please.
Yep.
Shelley is requesting to repeat the 5 steps.
Love it. Thank you, Shelley. And thank you, Sushila. The 5 steps of the upfront contract before we finish up on paying. Number 1, hard start. Like you got to confirm starting of meetings. No big deal there, Shelley. Number 2 is a hard stop. That is a big deal. Amateur salespeople fight for too much time, or they just go about 30 to 45 minutes. Be very clear with your clients in the upfront contract to say, are you still okay when we met at the trade show last week, Mary, for a 45-minute meeting? That's step 2. Number 3 is their agenda. I'll shorten it up, Shelley. 2 words, THEIR, their agenda. You share with a question. What would you like to accomplish, Mary, at today's meeting? That's called their agenda. Number 4 is your agenda, what you'd like to cover, Shelley, in that meeting. And we help people with the specificity of what that sounds like, depending on your product, industry, or company that you work for. And the 5th step is, how is this meeting going to end? You give them a chance to say thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to continue talking anymore. You got to say that verbally. Or if it does make sense to continue talking, let's figure out, Mary, what that looks like. So I hope you got that, Shelley. Shelley, did that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
No, thank you for asking. And I know I talk too fast, so, and it's already 1:15. So we got a few more steps, and then Q&A and Susheila's closing comments. So paying, guys, back to the number 3 step, and the best-selling system out there, I feel, is not what do you need, what do you want, what do you want, what do you need, Mary? It's the pain. So write this down. Pain is an emotional reason to do business with you, Shelley, Matt Baker, Jennifer, Diana, everybody on the call here today. It's not a Sandlerism. It's a fact. People pay you more money, Jennifer, talking about how to get your prices to where you want them to be. And I don't even know what you do yet, Jennifer, but it's, in my opinion, I don't care. I appreciate what you're doing. But if you want to make the price points you need to get to be profitable, then you have to, it's going to be directly proportional to how much pain, emotional reasons for them to do business with you, the pain that they shared with you in the past, the pain they're sharing with you right now, that's called present pain, everybody. And then the pain, because you're so good at questions. Our training is built on asking the good questions, the great questions, and the tough questions to get to a client's pain. And this is irrefutable, what I'm about to say. The more pain somebody shares with you, emotional, past, present, future pain, words, phrases, body language, not needs and wants. I need a car. I want a car with 4 wheels, 4 doors, and get me to go to work every day. That's not pain, guys. Pain is an ongoing conversation. I heard somebody mention funnel in the Q&A, not to mix words here, but we call it a pain funnel. The top of the funnel, they give you price objections, Shelley. The bottom of the funnel, the price objections, if they don't go completely away, they're massively reduced. That, my friends, is a fact. These 3 steps right here, 3, 4, and 5, if you're writing this down, are the heart and soul of Sandler Training. So before I run out of time, here they come. And I think this is for, who mentioned, it looks like he left us. I was boring Mr. Lynn, he left us, but he had mentioned decision maker. Was that Mr. Lynn or somebody else? Here it comes in number 4. Well, first we got budget. A budget conversation, guys, write this down. Now, this is going to help you, Jennifer, and everybody, is you have a conversation with someone. The key word there being conversations. And the second key word is their budget, not the cost of your products and services. And we show people how to do that effectively, nurturingly, not with, sir, give me your budget. And they go, that's none of your business, Miss Salesperson. Well, that's not how you do it. You have a conversation with them about their rough budget, a range, a bracketing to address their pain. And what I was just mentioning to Mr. Lynn, it looks like he left though, is the step 5. Is it's not a decision maker, guys, or maybe somebody else said that. So like I did with Matt Baker, as long as Matt wasn't upset with me, Matt, sorry. It's not a commodity. And in this case, get the word decision maker out of your vocabulary. So I'll give you a quick example because we have a few minutes here. Mary, now that we've touched on all your pain, we've discussed $40,000 to $50,000 budget, or 400 to 500, or your hourly rates, or whatever you guys are selling. Can I ask you a question, Mary? Mary says yes. How do you go about making decisions, plural, to invest X to Y amount of dollars to get rid of pain? Mary, can we talk about that? And Mary says yes. And now you have a totally different decision-making conversation versus Mary, are you the decision maker? So we take that to your grave, guys. Sorry for the analogy. Don't ever use the word commodity, or don't even think about it. If you guys think you're in a commodity, you don't need any training, because people buy commodities based on price. Yes, typically, or a vast majority of the reason. So get commodity out of your vocabulary and get decision maker out of your vocabulary. Those 3 steps right there, guys, are the heart and soul of Sandler training. Thank God we live in America. God bless America. It's capitalism in its truest form. Their pain increases, their budget increases. You make the kind of money you're looking for, Jennifer. Decision-making conversation is so you don't waste time with people. The last 2 steps before I turn it back over to Sushila is all the way down here in step 6, guys. You catching this? It's radically different than an amateur salesperson doing a dog and pony show over here. Do you guys see the difference there? Amateurs divulge this information way prematurely. Professionals hold back on it until they get all the clients' pain, all their budget conversation, the decision-making process, if you want to write that down. And then and only then do we send estimates, proposals, emails, and to people that said they've been chasing people for months. Here it comes. You never send a proposal, an estimate, talk numbers, go to my website and see the pricing. Leave proposals manually like the old days, or over emails or PowerPoint. Never, 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 Matt. If you honestly want to keep chasing people, unless they're willing to set up a day and a time and a day that they've agreed to go over it with you. So you can go through the details of your presentation, your fulfillment step, and show them how you and the quality company you have, Jennifer. I keep seeing your last name. I'm going to say Roque or Roque, is how good you are at your products and services, Larry or Shelley or Matt, is you give them that presentation and go over it with the agreed to day and time and day. So they can't just go AWOL on you or go dark or not get back to you. It's the biggest problem salespeople have. The last step, I don't have a lot of time to chat about, it's called post-sell. So write this down. Anytime you make a meeting with a client or do a presentation or you sell something to a client, or you make an appointment with them, post means after, and sell means after you make the appointment or after you make the sale. So 3 words I'm going to give you. We can't talk about it because I got 9 minutes left here, and Sushila has to make an announcement before you guys all leave. We're getting done at the right time here, it looks like, Vic. Is addresses buyer's remorse. That's what step 7 does. Now, if none of you ever had someone cancel an appointment, change their mind about buying from you, change their mind about meeting with you a 2nd or 3rd or 4th time, then don't worry about step 7. But if anybody's like me in the world, and I'm the old fart in 2 industries I've been in, people have buyer's remorse. People change their minds. People don't show up for the meeting. It's simply because you didn't have in your sales process a post-sell step, which 3 words, addresses buyer's remorse. Guys, there are the 7 steps. The real message here today before Sushila jumps in is get a selling system out there to address those concerns that Jennifer, Shelley, Mr. Lynn, and a few others mentioned. In closing, I drew an upside down Y in my lifestyle over 25 years ago, and it reminds me every day when I get to a point right here, I got to make a decision. And that decision is, do I want to follow a client's unpaid consulting process, Or do I want to follow a process over here, which we feel is more win, 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 win for you and your family, win for your company, and a win for the customer. That's our belief. And we've given that a name called a strategic decision, because you're not going to stop people from trying to do this to you. It was happening 30 years ago when I started with Sandler. It's happening today, and it's going to happen 30 years from now when I'm long gone. So you got to make a decision, plant your feet and follow a sales process, whether it's Sandler that you got exposed to today or some other system. We call that a win-win-win proposition, like I just said. And so Sheila, one more minute. I'm just going to, you guys are going to get these slides. I just threw these 2 rules in here because they're oldies and goodies. If you want to get something else done, you're going to have to change what you're doing. You guys have heard that those going back to Ben Franklin. You always do what you've always done. You always get what you've always gotten. And you're going to have to start doing something different. It was my pleasure chatting with you today. It was short and sweet. And I think that may be it. I'm going to turn it over to Sheila. And if anybody has any additional questions, you can feel free. So thank you again very much. And Sheila, you're up.
Yes, thank you, Bob, for giving such a nice presentation, webinar presentation. Before I can start, I want to give a gist what I understood from Bob's webinar. Today, I came to know that unpaid consulting means wasting time. So please remember next time, unpaid consulting means wasting time. And we should not use the phrase commodity because it's an old phrase. And we also should not use decision maker. So these 3 things, if you remember, you are good to go. And
Wow.
then
I love it. Thank you, Sheila.
and also the most important steps to remember is bonding and rapport, upfront contract, pain interview, budget conversation, decision making, presentation fulfillment, and post and sell. And I think Shelley wanted the 5 steps, that is hard start, a hard stop, the agenda, your agenda, how the meeting's going to end, and thanks or no thanks. So in between the 5th and 6th, you have to make strategic decision. So Bob, thank you very much. You have simplified and explained us to remember when we do our business next time. And SCORE also helps to have webinar presenters like Bob, so that you can, whoever is interested to start a business and needs help can request a remote mentoring session by filling the form. And Bob's email, after the end of this session, we will be sending the recorded webinar session. So you can always go back and see. And if you have any questions, you can surely email Bob. I have individually sent the email of Bob, so you can always email him. And if you have any questions, you can always ask him. Thank you, Bob.
Is there anything else, Sheila, you needed to say about SCORE, or that? I think we're done.
We are done. I just wanted to say that SCORE helps mentoring. The only thing is whoever is viewing the participant, you can go back and call the phone number that's presented on the screen, 484-356-8624 for assistance. And you will be given a form and you can fill the form, and as per your time and availability, you can connect with the SCORE volunteers, and then you can move from there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Vic, and everybody. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much for sharing the experience and the knowledge that you have acquired through the years.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. You're welcome. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.